Folks, you got to hear this. Look at this. We've been watching what's happening. Nasrallah has been killed. Israel has just absolutely been annihilating wicked Hezbollah. Iran doesn't know what to do as of right now. Khomeini, Ayatollah Khomeini, he's in hiding. Hamas is about ready to be completely cleaned up. Guerrilla warfare there. Now Israel's going house to house to get their hostages. Israel has gone after, just absolutely gone after the Houthis in Yemen. So Israel is doing something the West doesn't want done. And they're losing control of Israel. These Western deep staters and globalists are realizing, uh-oh, we have a problem with Israel. Uh-oh, they're actually defeating the enemies. We've been telling them, you're not going to defeat them. We're not going to give you weapons. We're not going to do, uh-oh, we have a problem. They did this to pagers. They did this to walkie-talkies. And look what they did to just annihilate the enemy. Israel is winning, and Israel is going to win. And the West doesn't like that because the West wants to control Israel. What's happening is the way is being paved to open up for the Antichrist to come in, because now the West is going to have to shift gears. But check this out. Here it is. Israel National News. Pope on Nasrallah's elimination. Immoral actions. Asked about Israel's strike to eliminate the Hezbollah leader, Pope Francis said that even in war, there's morality to be safeguarded. Okay, he said all kinds of things. I don't have time to read this all, but listen to this. You got to hear this. When there is something disproportionate. Wow, wait a minute. What's that the context? He said this, I quote, I didn't quite understand how things have been evolving, but defense must also be proportionate to the attack. When there is something disproportionate, a domineering tendency that goes beyond morality is evident. In other words, what he's saying is Israel's acting disproportionate. Are they really? You're an evil man. The Pope is evil, I'm telling you. You look at this, you go, wait a minute. Hezbollah has been firing rockets at Israel for 40 years. You have Hamas, you have Hezbollah, you have the Houthis, you have the people inside Judea and Samaria, funded by Iran from money that comes from the U.S. to launch rockets, to launch missiles, all aimed at Israel, and they actually fire them, and they actually kill people, and they actually slaughter people, and they actually butcher people. And this has been going on for decades upon decades upon decades. Israel finally has to say, wait a minute, we aren't going to take missiles into our homes anymore. And this Pope says that's disproportionate. What an evil man. Because he's evil, he wants Israel to be eliminated. He is not for Israel. He is against Israel. And I'm telling you right now, a whole lot of people in the West, the deep staters, the globalists, they do not like the fact that little tiny Israel has been so powerful and so big and so big that they are absolutely destroying the enemy. Even Iran is cowering to them. And by the way, people in Iran and Lebanon are celebrating that Israel has done this. And Iran also knows this, so does Hezbollah. There's a whole lot of people that are Arab background and Persian background that live in those areas that are on Israel's side, that are spies for Israel, and they found out they have a problem. Why? Because they're siding with Israel because they know Israel stands for what is good, and these evil regimes are wicked, and they're putting up with it. So Ayatollah knows he has a problem. All of them know that they have a huge problem. And I'm looking at this. Little tiny Israel has done something the U.S. couldn't do, that nations just couldn't do. So much so, check this out. Former British commander said no Western military has achieved what Israel has the last 2 weeks in Lebanon. Wow. No Western military has been able to achieve that. Jared Kushner even reported that it's been what? Israel did more in the last 6 weeks than the U.S. did in the last 20 years to deal with terrorists. I mean, you look at these things and you're just going, but here's where it's going to go. I'm telling you, this is where it's going to go. Israel's going to continue to push. Israel has to deal with the problem of Hezbollah. They have to deal with Hamas. They got to deal with these problems. And then there's going to be the whole tactic from the West towards Israel is going to shift because they realize they've lost control of Israel. Israel isn't cowering down to the deep staters and the globalists. Between Obama and Biden, they've been pushed too far. Kamala, they know, would be even worse. So what are they going to do? The West is going to change their tactics, going to pretend it's coming. The day is coming, not today, but it's coming, I'm telling you, to pretend peace with Israel. and they're going to try, and a leader's going to come up and pretend to be the peaceful leader. We're going to help. The attention's going to go onto the Temple Mount. The attention's going to go onto Jerusalem itself, and the leader's going to come. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but this is the direction it's going to go. The attention now is going to shift there because they don't want to deal with the Palestinian problem anymore. It's not working. So what are they going to do? The Palestinian propaganda is going to shift. They're going to shift how they do it and pretend peace. We're coming here to protect you, Israel. We're even, the day is coming, we're going to help you build a temple. It's going to be an evil plan. Out of it's going to rise Antichrist. You wait, you watch, you'll see. But this direction things are going. Listen again.
Last few years, we know everything about each target. And when we see there's a new target, then it's being added. And now we start following that one. And so everything that we destroy right now, these are approved and a target that we've been following for the last few years. Again, we are well equipped and ready for this type of war. That's the war we thought we were going to have to fight. Then came October 7th and surprised us in the south, excuse me. By the way, even on the morning of October 7th, Israel was still convinced that the rockets that Hamas is shooting is just a diversion for a coming Hezbollah invasion. The very first special forces were actually airlifted to the north, thinking that the invasion is coming from the north. That's how much we were obsessed with the northern arena. And that's how much we neglected Hamas and human intelligence there. And we were in complete darkness when it comes to Hamas because we were underestimated them. We looked down at them. We thought that these are Palestinians. You know, what can they do? They're not Hezbollah. Well, Hamas is almost crushed completely. No one heard anything from the leaders of Hamas for the last couple months. They may have been dead. And now it's time to take care of business in the north. Now, we are systematically destroying weapons across Lebanon. We are destroying smuggling routes from Syria into Lebanon. We are destroying manufacturing sites for weapons, drones, and rockets across Lebanon. And there's only one thing that you cannot destroy from the air. And that's, of course, the underground tunnels. You have to go in, roll in with your tanks and your infantry. You have to find those tunnels, go inside those tunnels, clear them, and then detonate them and destroy them. That we must do with tanks, engineering corps, and all of that. Another threat that we have to remove is the threat of anti-tank missiles that can only be fired from a short distance from homes of Shiites, the supporters of Hezbollah. So we will eliminate any position that is endangering the Israelis that we want to secure their return to their homes. So right now, Israeli troops entered into southern Lebanon to eliminate the possibility of another October 7th. And to eliminate that, you need to roll your tanks, engineering corps, special forces, and find terror targets, destroy them, find underground infrastructures, clear and destroy them. And again, I mean, yes, we are super successful. We have already taken from Hezbollah almost 50% of its capabilities. But the other 50% are tens of thousands of rockets and tens of thousands of terrorists. I mean, this is a monster. It's a monster that is threatening the entire Middle East and the entire world, if I may. And that monster cannot be destroyed within 2 days and cannot be destroyed only from the air. Unfortunately, the elements in the U.S. administration leaked the information about the coming Israeli ground invasion, probably 2-3 hours before the actual invasion began. I don't understand why they do that, because it's not going to change our plans. It's just going to put our lives in danger. But I can tell you that the calls of the U.S. president for a ceasefire are ridiculous, because when was the last time he called for a ceasefire in the north throughout the last year? Everywhere Israel is initiating a response, then the world calls for a ceasefire. Our northern border has been exposed to thousands of rockets for the last year, and nobody called for a ceasefire. Why? Because Israel did not respond. Now that we finally respond, everybody calls for a ceasefire. Unbelievable. I want to tell you something. We're not the same. It's not the same people. It's not the same leadership. It's not the same mindset. The progressive liberal junk that was filling the minds of politicians and mostly generals is now stored elsewhere. And we are determined, we are resilient, we have perseverance, we have patience, and endurance. And the people of northern Israel said, take to the IDF, take your time. We will endure more rockets, and we will stay away from our homes for, if you need a couple months, take it. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. But promise us that you finish the job this time. So
Mail Spin's going to be joining me from